have to be real. Was it Imman who grew you and made you overstay the Quran?
Is he a pedophile?
In what, bruv? Doing this grooming talk, this is European bastard. We can all agree, none of this ideology. And if you, let me tell you something, I want you lot to talk outside the box. Talk outside of Islam. If you're going to be telling me you're black, talk outside the box of Islam, Christianity. How we do real things. But look, because this grooming bullshit, I see you go up the aisle with their fucking family. Is that bullshit, bruv? Come on.
For hundreds of years, it has been proven that there have been older men taking advantage of little. Let's be real. So that's not a European thing. That's been going on from time, bro. It happens in Jamaica as well, fam.
No, we take it through that. We can take it back through that, right? Children has always been.
It happened in Jamaica.
No. We can always talk about
pedophiles now. Where they learned that from? Let me just say that. When they learned that, the
root of it,
we know the culture.
does go to
Where they learned that from?
Where they learned that?
Get away from it.
From Massa, innit?
The root of it goes back to Europe.
Let's not talk over each other.
You're trying
to tell me that no black man.
Bus guys saying
before the rise of the Greek Empire, we didn't know about paedophilia, pederasty, which is the real name for it, and if you're a paedophile, and you're gay, it's the same thing. They made the distinction in the word pederasty, which is a Greek word. I'm talking about act. I'm talking about act.
Where did that come from? You could go to the oldest. You could go to any Greek oldest. They got all up on graffiti.
You're telling me in Africa, grown men wasn't marrying little girls? Is that what you're telling me?
No. I don't think empire or civilization was pure.
That could be. That could be happening now.
That could be happening now. We're going away from the point. We're going away from the point.
You're talking a 4-year-old man.
What was the point? We're going away from the point. The whole thing is, look, we all know, guys, you're a Western thing. Guys, the point we're trying to get at, look, in our communities, we're not saying if there's not a problem, we should deal with it. Like, we know in London at the moment there's an epidemic of knife crime, so we deal with it. Grooming gangs. Hold on. Let me finish. Can I finish, please? Can I finish, please? So, for example, grooming gangs actually in London, I could be wrong, but it's not the main thing that's like in our eyes at the moment and stuff. Maybe in Romford they got it, and whether they're Muslim or whatever, Muslim, Sikh or whatever, if they're Muslim, deal with it or so forth. That's not the issue. The whole thing is, it's not because they're Asian, it's not because they're Pakistani, it's not because they're Muslim. Just like Raj was talking with the other Sikh guy about, like Raj.
Are we trying to add shit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whether it's white, whether it's black, Asian.
Chris Rock. What I was going to try to say to you, it's like Raj and the other Sikh guy, they were having a discussion about alcoholism, and they trying to say something to do with the Punjab culture and being secret. And I said no. And I said when I was discussing with Raj, we had a long discussion about the grooming guy thing. I said it's not because you're Asian or you're Punjabi. I said you're having stress, and when people are stressed out or got hard life, they drink or they smoke. If you're Jamaican, you smoke weed, whatever. The thing is that, but it's nothing to do with you're Asian or you're Sikh. So if there was an issue, I lived in this area because he said there was a place where there was a Sikh temple and there was a pub, and everything used to embarrass him because he would go to the temple and straight after go to the king. Now, if I try to solve that problem, try to solve the grooming problem, I'm not going to title the video, Sikh alcoholism. That's not. I don't think that's intelligent. I think it's offensive. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever the issue, there's knife crime here. There's knife crime in Liverpool. There's no guard on. You don't need to name it black crime, knife crime. You don't need to name it Christian knife crime because it's not Christian knife crime. So we just call it knife crime.
See these guys. Pakistani gangs. Are they specifically targeting white girls?
Maybe they are. I don't know.
Me and my brothers here, we were
One second, one voice.
The gangs in London. Now what we see, the gangs are many colours, but the only ones who are dying, dropping dead, are this colour. So you guys tell me there's no problem. There's no problem.
I never said there's no problem. Did I say there was no problem with black people? Where can I say that? I want you to get a tape back and play back. Where did I say that I don't, that there's no one dying at this colour only? Did I say it? Who's speaking? Bro, you're not listening to me. I swear I said on YouTube, yeah? I swear I said there's an epidemic of black, yeah? In London there's an epidemic of gun crime amongst black people. I swear I didn't say that there's no problem. I swear I didn't say that. You translated it, my English into your...
No, I'm not talking about it. Early on today, I'm not talking on a YouTube video, you said, yeah, when I said there's a black epidemic in knife crime in the UK right now, you said there's none.
I've always said that. Excuse me, I've always said that there's an epidemic. I've even done videos about...
But anyone said no.
Excuse me, I can't say
Something we're dealing with.
as long as you know me, you think I don't think there's a problem with that.
One line, one order, man. Like,
You got to against me, man. Your hatred, your dislike for Islam is making you hate Islam.
Don't go there, bro. Don't go there without this truth.
You know me.
Don't go there.
Okay, but man, you know,
Don't go there with that, bro. That's just stupidity there.
I'm upset with black youths killing each other. That's what I do. I've got a whole project on it. I've got a whole project on it.
So once again,
Do you think that I think
might have misheard him.
for no reason?
Okay.
That's what's going on here.
But he watches the tape
Do you
of me
think?
talking with
Let's
Raj.
get back to Jack. Do you think it's happening that these guys in wherever they're doing it are targeting people because they're white? That's what you're saying.
I think it's specifically because they're white girls.
And not because they're vulnerable and
No, specifically white girls.
Because they're white.
And how do they view the white girl? Do you think that comes from religion or culture?
That's not going up here, bruv. What you gon' think? You going up here telling me that white girls ain't Rambo, the youth will follow you, yeah? Come on, you got to be real with you, bro. We all know.
The perception
Growing up in England, Rambo, if you want to get a visa, you don't go to a black woman, do you? You go to a white woman. You can't talk over me. Rambo, we can't talk over. You're the Rambo. Revolution, come on. No, but I'm being honest with you. You got to de-escalate things. Come like, why am I going to de-escalate things? I'm like this to you. You safe. The rest of you lot ain't.
I'm not anti-Islam. I'm pro-black.
Okay, good.
I always say pro-black. No problem. Cool. Yeah. So when people start putting things with nigga, and I don't agree with it. I don't have it.
We can't disagree.
I don't have it.
Let's say them.
I'll tell you why it's wrong here, because
I'm not saying all.
I'll tell you why it's wrong. We've not spoken to every black person or Asian person, so how can we say that?
I didn't say all. I just said from the park and reaction we just got here.
Yeah.
When I asked that question, from what he said, everybody had that perception growing up during a period of time that white girls were easier.
Yeah, but how do we know that's a
stereotype?
It's a stereotype.
Yeah.
Right then. So my point is, that's not a Muslim stereotype, is it?
No.
It's a general stereotype.
But let's say you're right,
When
yeah?
we talk about this rape happening to specifically white girls, then you're not saying that it's happening because these guys are specifically Muslim. It's because these guys have a stereotype in their mind that white girls are easy and vulnerable, and they're acting on it. So these sick people, who are sick people, are just being sick.
Is that a proven fact that white girls are easy?
Are we allowed to use
I didn't say it was a proven fact.
I don't think negative. One
He's saying that Raj is saying that they're Sikhs. So we know it's not just white girls. So we know it's not just any white girls. That's the point. My point is simply.
Can they be a bad Muslim? Me, no. Can they be a bad Muslim?
You could be right.
Can they be a bad Muslim?
Okay, you could be right. Yeah.
One second.
Okay, you could be right. Yeah. You could be right. Yeah. You could be right. Yeah. But Raj was just saying. Look, Raj is saying he did this campaign. He set up his campaign and he's doing this activism because Sikh girls have been targeted by Muslim guys, yes, for many years. So it can't be they're just going after white girls.
Well, hold on. Let's
Do you get what I'm saying?
Let's get the numbers, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
What's the stats on, like, say, Indian girls getting groomed by Asian men? What's the stats?
85%, yes. But the point I'm trying to say to you is this.
Yeah.
Raj said that he's saying it because he's not white, honestly, yeah. Raj is not obviously not white. He's saying it. He's doing it because he believes that these Asian Pakistani guys, and he's not saying African Muslims. He's saying Asian Muslims, yeah, are targeting Sikh girls, and they have been for years.
And these men, are they what? Is Pakistanis, Bengalis?
Pakistanis, from what I
So
understand.
specifically Pakistanis,
Okay, that's what
targeting Indian girls, Sikh girls, and white girls.
Okay, that's what he's saying. But the thing is the media is saying it's just white girls. Raj is saying it's Sikh girls as well. But the point is this: it's not obviously an Islamic thing, yes. The reason why is because African Muslims are not doing it, Moroccan Muslims are not doing it, and so forth. So it's not a Muslim thing, yeah. Secondly, I don't think it's a Pakistani thing because not all Pakistanis are doing it. Yeah. For example, I just want to finish that. I know I speak for long. I'm going to wrap up. For example, knife crime is boosted, yeah. But look, just go to any JD Sport, any Foot Locker. Most black boys work. Go Sainsbury's, go Tesco's and this that. Yeah, when you go to higher up into work in the office and stuff, you'll get racism and stuff. But JD Sports is like there's tons of for every. No, but now I'm just using an example. Going to any JD Sports, there's tons of black boys working there. More black boys work than shop. But the image we're given from music videos and the media and stuff is that isn't. That's true. Because not anyone can just sell drugs. Some people are not brave enough. So the whole thing is that. So we're giving it exactly, it's exaggerated. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not because they're Pakistani, because not all Pakistanis doing it, and it's not the majority of Pakistanis. The majority of Pakistanis are not going around gang grooming, and it's not because they're Muslim, because African Muslims are.
Ask you, brother, you know this particular crime, which part of the country is it taking place?
Both of them or somewhere.
So it's specifically up north.
Yeah.
So.
Let's go.
I want to understand is in London. In London, it's not happening here, yeah. So why is it specific?
But not on the same level. The government's already got a report going on private schools, not private boarding schools.
He's talking about the Asian thing. He's talking about the Asian
thing. This thing happens everywhere. This is the point that I was trying to make. And we're really dealing with this.
And the government's already pulling out a report about
trying to deal with it.
So it's not just in each community.
No, but look,
everywhere.
Each community has its own thing that's predominant. In London, like for example, the problem amongst most youth is not gang grooming. It might be happening, and I'm not saying it's not happening, but to the level, it seems the level up in the north, it's an epidemic, yeah. In London, we have an epidemic, even though most black boys work, there is an epidemic of knife crime amongst young black boys. But if you go to Liverpool, there's an epidemic with young white boys stabbing each other. So the point is this, it's not their race, it's not their religion and so forth. So the whole point I'm trying to say is that it doesn't make sense calling it Muslim grooming gangs or Sikh alcoholism or Liverpool white knife crime. It just doesn't make sense. There's a problem. And we're not saying as Muslims don't deal with it. Deal with it.
So is it local culture then? So is it local culture?
I wouldn't say it's culture. I wouldn't say it's culture.
I'll tell you what it is.
Well, what is it?
I'll tell you what it is. It's sick people who exist
exactly.
everywhere in society. But I just started talking, yeah? Sick people that exist everywhere in society. And if you start looking into people's communities, like when they looked at the BBC, they found Jimmy Savile and a whole bunch of them. When you actually start looking into the situation, you're going to find these sick people. The problem is, when we start saying Muslim grooming gang, black knife crime, what you do is you reduce it and you start saying it's this section, then you are able to ignore it. It's pedophilia, pure and simple.
Exactly.
It happens everywhere. And if we want to deal with pedophilia, let's talk about pedophilia. Otherwise, it sounds like you just want to attack Muslims.
Exactly. Do we call it white child porn? The vast majority of child porn is white males between 40 and 60, age 40 and 60. But we don't call it white child porn. We don't. Why is that we call it that?
It's known most paedophiles are white. That's known fact. That's known fact. That's a known fact.
But
the point is, these same people,
like I said,
it's the media.
Get the most whipped up and angry about it. They don't care about the kids. They care about the Muslim men who
and the same media
mad at Muslims. That's all it's about.
I look, these media people.
Yeah, because if you got an agenda, innit? It's all about if you got an agenda. If I don't like black people, I don't like white people.
That's why we're trying to take away that Muslim thing.
I look at this media.
Giving them a backup to their agenda. If you really care about pedophilia, campaign about pedophilia and leave it at that.
Is that Tommy
from Parliament?
Is that Tommy Robinson? Yeah.
That's what Raj is doing and what Tommy's doing. But the thing is this: these same media people that talk about who live in Romford, and are pushing this out, or where do they live? And they got these big media machines. These same people will talk about Pakistan grooming guys, Asian grooming guys, this, that, and the other. They're the same people that when they go hospital, they let that 8 Pakistani doctor operate on them, and that Pakistani dentist operate on them. But we've got the same thing. Me, even before I was Muslim, I was brainwashed by this culture. I've said this 1,000 times. I grew up in a this country a democracy, yeah. So before anyone tells me to go back where I came from, the furthest I can go is Battersea, Surrey Lane, yeah. So I didn't come from anywhere else. I know this and this, maybe, and so forth, yeah. So the thing is that I grew up in this country, free world, first world education, whatever, free country. Wi-Fi, well, there wasn't Wi-Fi and that stuff, but all this technology, yeah. But what I'm trying to say to you, yeah. But what I'm trying, we had that phone in it. We
had the big phone,
No, I didn't have that. You had the phone that you do.
That's in the 80s, 70s. Yeah.
I'm older then. But the thing is this: I grew up. I was black. I kind of love myself. I think. No, what I mean is, no. I'm trying to say why. The reason why I'm saying the reason I'm saying is that I was black and I considered that I love myself, and I grew up in a free world. But honestly, I was brainwashed.
Free world.
No, I believe I was free.
Brainwashed in what sense?
Okay, I was black. I believed I was proud of being black, but I was still racist. For example, if you ask me about Africa, I've said this 1,000 times. If you ask me about Africa, I had two images about Africa: skinny babies with big bellies with flies around them, yeah, and guys on jeeps with this rag on their head with a gun in hand, going like this. And the only thing I knew about, sincerely, yeah, I had never seen a positive, until today, I've never seen a positive image of Africa on TV. I don't watch TV no more.
Oh, you mean so TV show? Alright, so
till today on the news or anything. I've never seen a positive. I've never seen a positive image. The only thing I've been about Africa, until I became Muslim, I started reading about different cultures and different civilization. And I never knew there were like the skyscrapers in Africa. There's like beautiful shopping malls and this, that, and the other. But I sincerely grew up in this country, yeah, brainwashed and thinking I never want to go to Africa. The last place I want to go is in Africa because I don't want them flies to get on me, and I don't want to see them people in the jeep and this, that. And I remember this advert. They had one advert that stuck in my head, and it was a guy. He was in this like hut thing, yeah, and then he switched on the light, and he goes, "Well, what did you expect? It is 1999, you know."
Oh, you're killing
me. Do you remember the advert? You don't remember, yeah? Do you remember the advert? Okay, so the thing is that I sincerely believe Africa's messed up. So now as a Muslim, North Korea, I've never been there. I don't have a clue about it. I've been given a bad perception about Russia, about North Korea, about China. They're mashed up, they're dictator. Europe, I've only been given good over and over and over and again. It's beautiful. Yeah, they have this Brexit thing, but the people, they're educated, they're civilized, they have good. All these other countries.
Socialization.
Yes. I'm finishing right now. So what I'm trying to say to you, when it comes to all these other countries, that's why I don't buy anything. I don't even watch normal TV now.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that I would say to you, whether it's Sikhism, whether it's Muslims, whether it's countries outside like North Korea and China, like I do not believe it's I have a blank slate with them. I don't believe anything, or to see it myself, or speak to many different people from that place because we've been brainwashed. And I leave it at that.
Let's ask you a question, right?
Agreed.
When you qualified that your experience of Africa, of being a civilized place, you used an example of skyscrapers. Why couldn't they live in mud huts and still be civilized, good people? Why
this is what I'm trying to say.
Because like you're sort of like equating it with a European concept.
No, that's why I said that. European concept. Can I answer that right? Because the whole thing is that at that time when I was being shown places in Africa, I was shown flies and babies with big bellies, and I was shown like crazy warlords. Yes, but at that time they did have developed skyscrapers and affluent shopping malls. No, but they still had it. But they had it. Hold on. Okay, pyramids. Pyramids.
Uncivilized.
Pyramids are like skyscrapers.
I get your point, but let me come to the
pyramids are like skyscrapers. They're not wasting out the earth's resources where they live, right?
No, but they had it.
The pyramid is a skyscraper.
You're not understanding.
What you're not understanding.
They had it.
What you're not understanding.
Let's not argue.
That's the thing. What you're understanding is the point of view or perspective he's coming from. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So once you come to this point, once you come to this point, are you talking to me? Sorry. So once you come to this point, and you get to this point where you realize Africa is not all blah blah blah, and it's civilized, then you can start looking at the mud huts and actually saying, actually, you know what? Actually, I was actually completely conditioned into thinking what civilization is.
Yeah, true.
That is the next step. But there's a first step that a lot of young kids who are growing up and socialized to think Africa is swollen bellies and mud huts. You're not going to show them a mud hut and say, no, it's really good, it's sustainable for the planet. I think you're going to convince this kid, even though it's true.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, exactly. If he's been living in this paradigm,
exactly. You have to introduce it to him at that level, and at that point, work him to that point of development and understanding of different cultures. Because what the point is, what he's making is very real. There's a lot of black youth grow up in this country, and we get socialized to think our own culture is nothing. And that somebody else's culture is great. And that we have to take that culture on. So even if it is just a matter of I got to go back to Jamaica, I go back to Africa, I see a skyscraper, I'm like, oh snap, our people are doing stuff. then I started reading into it, and I said, actually, the first forms of building was using mud and earth, and actually, it's much more sustainable, and actually, it's a lot more good for the conditions of the heat of that country in terms of insulation, all of these types of things. Right. But that comes with learning, and it's a first step. So you shouldn't jump at a brother for taking the first step.
Like Hussain was saying, yeah, like
that word. Elaborate. No, just a question.
It's good to ask. This is good.
For example, that word civilized. What is civilized?
Good question.
Okay, let me give you something. The point I'm trying to make, like he made it very eloquently, is basically that it's not the fact that the civilized and advanced skyscrapers. The fact is they had it. They had what we had in the West equal to it, but we were shown it was nothing. It was nothing but just dirt there. Right. That's what we showed. So the whole thing is, and obviously the Africans, they built they like pyramids. If you want to say, you could say that's a form of skyscraper or building large. They're showing that they have the ability, the mind. But obviously, to me, as a Muslim and so forth, success to me is obviously obeying my creator. Everyone's got different views of what success is, so that's going to be individual to yourself and so forth.
Now, what I'm saying is, the way we live in our lives on a day-to-day basis, would we consider this to be civilized?
It's not civilized.
No,
we're not living civilized. But the problem is, but this is the problem. We're not living
uncivilized throughout the whole.
I don't say this is civilized.
But we're not living civilized now. We live in. And look,
you spoke about a knife crime video and so
look, we have more material belongings now, but we're not living civilized because we live that, and people by the head and you don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me. We live in a godless society, yeah. So the problem now is that we have Wi-Fi, we have technology and stuff, but there's some things, bro. But there's some things we don't have, yeah. So for example, there's certain things you'll see in this country. For example, in our day growing up here, your mother, you would obviously never swear or shout back, like you would never be, how can I say, you would never swear at your mother, this, that and the other. Now you'll just see kids like telling their mother to F off, this, that and the other and so forth. Another thing, you'll see like young strong guys busting up old women, yeah, to get their money in their handbags and this, that and the other. And there's even rude boys, yeah, back in the day, there's certain things they wouldn't do. But the problem, the dangerous problem we live in now, the most thing is that we live in this godless, like, capitalist, secular society, and what it teaches you is YOLO, as you know, yeah? You only live once, yeah? So we're just told I'm here to live here to enjoy myself through feelings and desires as much as possible and get as much material things we want. And what the problem is, when you have the society where there's no God, there's no day of judgment, there's no paradise, there's no hell, you can disagree with me if you want. It breeds a culture of that. As long as I get away with it or I don't, cool, it's cool. That's why you have so many, like, we have an epidemic of knife crime. But what causes that, one of the things that causes that is that we have an epidemic of young guys sleeping around, breeding up bare girls, yeah, and there's no responsibility for it. Why? If you live in a society, you just live once, yeah? It's not illegal. It's not illegal in this law. From puberty, from when you know how to have sex, a guy can just sleep with as much girls, go clubbing every weekend, sleep with as much girls as possible, get them as much girls pregnant as possible until he's 50 or 60 or until he can't do it no more and he gets old and stuff, and there's no consequence for it. There is absolutely no recompense, no legal law, nothing. So we live in a society now that guys, and what is this, when a guy's young it's very hard. When a guy's sleeping around, yeah, and obviously you have society as well. You have society telling you we're giving role models. We've got to give role models. I use this example, even though it's not black. Like when we grew up, the role model that was given to us was James Bond. James Bond was the man. Why? He used to punch up bare man. He had the nicest suits, the fattest car, and he just used to have bare girls. Yeah. Girls. And I keep on repeating this. People are going to be bored of me saying this. But I remember I used to watch it, and there was this one time he was in bed with a girl. She was chatting. He had already done things with her or whatever, and she was just chatting. He wasn't listening. He just pressed one button, and it was like a flip-up bed. And she just started this like shut up, and then he pressed it. Bring it. Yeah. He was always flirting with his secretary Money Penny and stuff, and he was just like treating them like they're kind of talking and stuff like that. He just pushed them off the boat and this, that, and the other, and so forth. I know he's not black. I know he's not from the council state, but he was pushed to us as a role model, and we look up to him.
Go back to the question. That is.
Are you equating?
I'm gonna come back to you.
That's what standards. You're asking us about are we civilized? So what I'm trying to say to you, now we've got this society where we've got these role models that are given to us, and remember like when people make movies and stuff and marketing and capitalism, they got psychologists behind it, they got marketers behind it. The average kid that's growing up on the council estate, we got this music thing, yeah. Now, our music videos now are like little movies, yeah. Because I think a month, kids watch much more music videos than they watch a movie. You might watch one or two movies a month. So what's happened? We live in a society where our heroes, yeah, fathers ain't in our house. That may go back to slavery and stuff. Fathers not in our house. Yeah, the role models we're giving are just promiscuous and bad man and stuff like that. Yeah,
Beyonce, shake it out.
Yeah, man's asleep.
Beyonce, they're good role models.
Not for me, brother. Not for me. Bro.
But the point I'm trying to say, the musical role models, the rappers have become stepfathers to us. Yes.
Yeah, they're like God.
Yeah. Right. So what's happened now? The youth are following them, and what's happening? Guys are just sleeping around. And if a guy has to weigh up my desires, yeah, okay, he sleeps around every weekend. He's going club. He gets a girl pregnant. He wasn't planning when he went to the club to start a family. He said, I'm just going to sleep with as much girls as much as I can for the rest of my life. And if I get away, if I give it. So he gets a girl pregnant. Now, he's got to choose. Do I keep on just sleeping, ignore this girl and just keep on sleeping around enjoying myself? Or do I be responsible, find a job, live the hard life, look after my youth and this, that and the other and so forth? Pleasure or sacrifice and hard work? And because we live in this Euro, there's no God, there's no judgment, you're not responsible, music all the time, women in bras and bikini, this, that and the other, and he's watching that 24/7.
People have always asked themselves that question.
No.
That choice there.
But the point I'm trying to say to you, what is the consequence for guys? Because what I'm saying, the knife crime, yeah, is coming from broken homes, yeah, and the broken homes is coming from guys sleeping around. What is the consequence of guys just sleeping around and breeding girls up? There's no consequence. What?
So why is it men?
There is consequence.
For the man.
There is consequence without no fathers.
Yeah, but the man's not around.
There's always consequence.
But the man's not around.
No, yours, so be specific.
Yeah. Now what consequences is there for the man?
For the dude. Well, none at all.
Legally and morally in this country, there's no problem with it.
I mean, morally, I'd say it's
Morally,
questionably.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily even come down on. Have you seen a man who's not taking care of his children?
Yeah.
How much does society shun him or get onto
They
it?
don't.
So
He's glorified. You're glorified on the ends.
Be a father.
So what I'm trying to say, the knife crime is not going to be solved. Yes, it's not going to be solved until the family, because it's what's the breakdown of the family is leading to them not having a role model. If we grew up on, a lot of us grew up on council estates, yeah, we never had a
knife crime now.
No, I'm trying to get to it. It's linked, so it's linked. What I'm trying to say to you, because there's no consequence of young guys just sleeping around and having sex with all these different girls, yeah, they're getting girls pregnant, and the girls are phoning him, yes, and he's saying, look, don't phone my phone again, or you're gonna get punched in the face, yeah, or they phone the phone and that chip comes out the phone and goes over Vauxhall Bridge into the Thames. He just ignores her, so then she has to raise on her own. And I'm not.
But I'm saying, bro, I'm not being funny. Yeah. It takes two to tangle. You're always blaming the men, yeah. It's like, so these women got to start checking these men. Come on, let's be real.
The mothers do. Excuse me, your mother raised you or not? Okay, most.
What I'm saying is, we're always saying, "Oh, men," but the women got to start checking themselves as well.
Yeah, we'll come to that. What's the initial question? Because that's
civilization.
What civilization?
Okay, but bro, look, the whole thing is this. Just to take two to tango.
Right now we're talking about very specific our community, black community, in terms of civilized, or are we talking about the
civilization
wider
in general? Can you break down what you think? Round it up, rather.
Okay, but we're following the whole secular capitalist society is mashed up.
So you're saying it's equated to religion then?
No,
that's where you went before.
My personal view is because we live in what I'm trying to say. You said, "Oh, we live in civilized." I'm saying that we live in a secular country. Right. I don't believe it's civilized.
Are you saying that's got something to do with it then?
I'm saying capitalism is not civilized.
So because there's less religion, or less people are following religion, you're saying that's why we're not civilized. So civilization is equated to religion.
Yes, I do. Do you know why?
So hold on. So back in the day when it was less secular, there wasn't people having children at wedlock, and there wasn't no crime. Hold on. And religious people like the Inquisition, they weren't committing crime and doing.
I'm saying there's always good. No one's angels, but I'm saying you had better families, you had better structure, you had more morals than before. Even this country, when people were more religious, you could leave your door open. You can't do that anymore.
That's not true.
Hold on. What do you mean? Hold on. I'm saying to you, excuse me. I'm saying to you, things were morally better in the past than they are now.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
Oh, what do you mean?
You can't say that. You can't say that on a whole.
In this country,
You can't say that on a whole.
Hold
How are
on.
you gonna do that?
There's always good and bad.
Right.
Okay, but it was, excuse me. In your back in the day, did people respect their elders more?
Yeah, they done that while keeping slaves.
So
right?
what is
Hold on.
Hold
We have to be fair about it, do you know what I mean?
Hold on, I'm not
I
saying.
agree with you that religion can be a good force for good.
I agree.
And in the past, there were better morals, but even so, within that, there were still abuses, massive abuses. So within Britain, Victorian Britain was great. They were building churches and building schools for the poor, but they were getting all the money from slaves. They funded the whole industrial revolution from slavery. So religion can be a force for good for the specific people, but the question is, what's happening to the other people outside of the religion?
That's
and away
true.
from
That's
that?
true. I'm saying to you, I believe. Okay, I'm saying.
That's what.
Okay, I'm saying. I'm saying.
With God.
I'm saying to you.
Come and kill you and say God told me.
Okay.
That's right.
I
Because God said.
Okay, I'm saying I believe in a
bullshit
society
people's arm, bro.
that believes in a God, and the day that they're going to be responsible, and the day that they're going to be held responsible in front of their creator is more responsible than a society that says you only live once, enjoy yourself as much as you can.
That's what I said. You said.
I think
That's what I believe. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to. Okay, look. Okay.
The reason why you're creating it with religion is because of the morals.
I'll tell you why.
But hold on, atheists can have morals. Atheists can have morals. They probably kill less people.
Oh, excuse me.
I
disagree. Excuse me.
Go for it. Say that again.
Where do morals come from?
Morals come from your experience in life. Yeah, your experiences, learning wrong and right.
Yeah, but then that makes morality subjective because who
It is.
who's to
It
decide?
is, including the religious morality.
No, because
some religious people would say they used to say it was right to sacrifice in the Old Testament. So that's a subjective morality.
Okay, look. Like I was saying to you, look. In capital, you agree we live in a secular society. Okay. What solution does secularism have to do with this epidemic of young guys going around sleeping, impregnating girls, and abandoning their children?
I would say that's to do with.
Let's be fair. Even if you disagree with religion, he's right. Secularization and capitalism. Maybe you could argue about secularization, but most certainly capitalism has a huge issue to do with the generation of communities and of morals in the society. Capitalism understands the price of everything but the value of nothing. Religion puts values on specific things.
I'm not going to deny that.
So I'm saying, if you say religion isn't
could be good values or bad values.
Religion isn't the solution.
That's my question.
That's
the point, though.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Because you're conflating the points.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Both of you are saying the same thing, which is since the decrease in or the increase in secular society, which had because religion had positive things to bring. Since the increase in secularism, there's been a push away from particular morality. Right, but I think you're conflating the two different issues of the decrease in religion and the preaching or the promoting of a particular lifestyle. Now you don't have to be religious. Hold on, you don't have to be like this transgender thing. How many atheists disagree with transgenderism? So it's got nothing to do with God or the religion. It's to do with in that perspective. It's to do with common sense. And then hold on, let me finish. All right, and then you could swap it around and you could say, all right, then if you believe that religion is responsible for good morality, subjectively good morality, then you could turn it around and argue about the Inquisition. You could argue about all the other forms of morality or the treatment of people that has been in a negative light. For example, the Old Testament where you could sacrifice or you could do this and that. So, or you could treat the poor in a certain way. Or divine right of kings. Divine right of kings is justified by God.
And serve your master, slave.
Right? And slavery. So I'm not arguing with Josh, but you're conflating the promoting of positive behaviour for religion.
Okay,
they're not synonymous.
I disagree with you.
And this is why you have religious crimes, or why religion is really.
I disagree.
It hasn't worked. For thousands of years, it ain't worked. It hasn't worked.
Okay, listen, I disagree with you. And I tell you why it's only going to get worse. Look, I tell you why it's only going to get worse because we're following secularism. I asked you what consequence, secular-wise, yes, and capitalism-wise, or so forth, yes, right? There is no consequence, and there's not going to be any consequence for young guys from the age of puberty or when they learn how to have sex and stuff, going around and sleeping with as much girls as hold on. No, for the consequence for the men.
Why just the men? We're talking about civilization.
Hold on. Excuse me.
The women have a consequence.
50%
Hold on.
That's not even 50% of the population.
Can I finish? Can I ask you a question?
No, but I heard you though.
Women give birth to the consequence.
We agreed with
Excuse me.
What about the women?
Excuse me. No, the point. I agree with you. Okay, look, a man. It's easy for us to say, oh, but it takes. Okay.
Of course. Okay. So we say the woman needs to check the man.
Let them say.
Hold on, listen.
Okay.
Let them say. No, but hold on. Hold it. Just hold it. Let them speak, and then just hold that there for me, man. Hold it there for me.
I want to answer this
Who's
question.
going to teach this,
hold it.
And two, if we're having a discussion about men, and we're all men, and there's no women in discussion, it makes sense that we should talk about men rather than talk about women.
There's a lady here.
There's women here.
But she ain't talking.
Women here, and people are gonna watch it. People are gonna watch it on YouTube.
They ain't talking. This is for the world. So we should tell women how they should do their body. What I'm saying, my thing is, because my issue is this, right? I feel like there's an issue. I feel like there's sometimes with Islam, because sometimes I feel like too many men in Islam are too concerned whether women are wearing a hijab too much. When the Quran says cover yourself for the women, it also says to men lower your gaze.
Lower their gaze first.
All the men need to. It says to men first actually.
Yeah,
so all the
gaze.
men need to focus on is lower their gaze. Whether she's wearing a hijab or not, focus on lowering your gaze, and that's the same thing we're doing right now in the discussion. We're saying we need to talk about the men. Men need to be responsible. We can talk about the women. That's a separate discussion.
Why can't humans be responsible?
Can I?
Because right now there's an issue with fatherlessness.
Yeah,
women
play a part in picking the wrong route.
Of course.
It's both of us. We need to work together.
I think we're not dealing with motherlessness though. The mothers aren't leaving the children.
I think
the mothers aren't leaving the children.
Do you know when it's unfair? Do you know when it's not fair? Do you know it's fair? Two guys, the guys and the girls there decide to go out clubbing or whatever. Yes. Okay. Now that it's easy for us as men to say what about the women? Okay, they have relationships.
I didn't say it's all about the women.
Can I finish, please? They had relations. They went clubbing. They decided to have relationships. Okay, the girl found out she's pregnant. She didn't mean to start a family.
Yep.
Okay, it's her fault and it's the guy's fault. The guy can easily just say, "Don't call my phone again," or just change his chip.
Right.
Yes. Now the woman is pregnant with the child. Now she can choose to abort the child or whatever.
Yeah.
But most people, if you go to council estates, were raised by single mothers. Yes.
Agreed.
I was raised by a single mother. I think a lot of people in this part.
Agreed.
Black people were raised by single mothers.
Past the problem, but go on.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say to you, so she sticks around, she beats the mother and the father, she goes out and works 1, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, she's also the caring, loving mother, this, that and the other, so she's precious, she's like,
as much as she can be.
She's doing everything. The guy, the next week he's sleeping with this girl, he's sleeping with this girl. Like I said, the law, But the thing is this, the woman is taking part of her responsibility. The guy is abandoning his responsibility. Not only that, legally, there's no punishment for him. The movies are telling him to do it. The music are telling him to do it.
That's not necessarily true.
Excuse me. That's not true. Excuse me. I'm not.
If your boy's being beaten up, that's not to do with nobody.
Let me finish. First of all, I don't know one person. I know many people who've gone jail for stabbing people, for robberies, for crime. I don't know one person, and I know many criminals. Yes, from before Islam. Yeah, I don't know one person who's got probation, community service, or any jail time for not paying child support in London. That's rubbish.
That's rubbish. A lot of the women who are supposed to claim it, they don't even know about the resource.
Oh, okay, so it's not being used. It's not killed your parents.
No, it doesn't kill it. That is a
this is not even a real discussion. If they don't know about it, how's the consequence because they're not using it?
I agree with that.
I want to know why it's only to do with
nobody uses it. You still need to answer why it's only to do with men.
We can agree there's a potential consequence, but it's not happening.
In reality, it's not.
In reality, it's not.
Man, I'm going to deploy it.
But you know what?
Hold on. Women can give up their child legally.
Excuse me.
I don't have to pay nothing.
Okay.
Man get ran down. That's true, right? Hold on, let me ask you a question. Can't a woman give a child up for adoption? Can a woman, a human being, give up her child legally? Can I do that? Hold on, can I do that? I can't do that. I'm only asking you a question. Don't be frightened.
Listen, 1 second. I'm not frightened. Who's frightened?
So answer the question then.
I'm not frightened. Who's frightened?
Yes. Yes.
It's a showing it by answering the question.
Answered it though.
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Yes, a woman can give up a child.
And a man can't.
Religiously, no.
What, give up a child for adoption?
Yeah.
No.
Religiously, no.
There's no process. Hold on. There's no process.
What's the way you Christian?
I'm not even arguing that. He went on to the CIA thing. I'm more dealing with a man and woman went there and got pregnant.
Why did she choose that man?
Bullet there.
See what you're saying? The second answer is give your kid to some stranger.
You went on to the child support.
Hold on.
This conversation is happening.
See the secular mind? Do you see the secular mind? Give your child to some stranger in foster care. Do you know about foster care? Hold on. See the secular. Okay, that's the religious mind. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? The religious mind, yes, versus the secular mind. Argument.
But I'm dealing with morality. He's just dealing with a particular type. He's just saying he was told.
No. Well, we're all kind of like. You're hyperpolarizing.
Yeah, let me get to my point.
You're
You finish your point and then I'll come
sticking
in.
up for secularism. The point was, I was saying as a religious person, that obviously as Muslims we don't have girlfriends, we have marriage, fornication. That's it. There's only marriage, yeah. So the whole thing, the religious one was about get married before you have a relationship with a girl. You have to meet the father. You have to meet the brothers.
Right.
Yeah, people, the family know who you are. Right. So there's no trying the goods and then running away if you don't like it. The brothers know who you are. And the father knows who you are. I get your point. So they're aware of
a marvelous point as well.
There's no just linking her. Can I finish? There's no just linking her in a club, having sex with her and then dusting out when she's a pregnant.
I get the point.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say. So the point I'm trying to say to you, your answer was, well, if she gets pregnant, she can give up for adoption.
No. That's when you lot started going off on a tangent talking about child support.
Yeah, but that's your answer.
I already said earlier on camera. I said that you're supposed to bun that from the beginning. You're already gone past the problem. When they go out and they go clubbing and she gets pregnant, that's the point. You're supposed to import their morals, right? Whether you're atheist or religious, you're supposed to import the morals of making responsible decisions and teaching children about the repercussions of their actions, right? And teaching people whether you're, because otherwise you've got, not everybody's going to accept religion, right? But as a community, whether you're religious or not, we need to teach responsible behaviour, right? For the religious people, you say God told you, and for the people who are, you're not letting me finish now. Right? So for the religious people, you're supposed to say it was God that said that, right? For the people who aren't religious, what are you going to say to them who don't believe in that? You're going to have to teach them how it's more responsible and more advantageous for them to be in a relationship that your religion promotes as well. So you're supposed to work together then. What are you arguing with them for? Work together. That's why I don't understand why Muslims argue with Christians, because it's all the same thing. You're coming from the same. Work together, brother.
Don't make that sense.
You know what it was? You never even asked me if I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying. I'm saying God didn't tell me that. That's all I'm saying. That's our disagreement. That's our disagreement.
Let's have us games.
Go for it. Someone else can talk. I'm saying to you. We live in a
Big short response, please. One second.
Excuse me. Secular people do not live like this. Listen, there's nothing wrong, yes. There's nothing wrong in a secular country because secularism doesn't come with no morals. Yes. So what I'm trying to excuse me. Secularism doesn't come with no morals. Let me get there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with secularism if you go in to a nightclub, sleeping with a girl or 3 girls or 4 girls.
That's not true. I just explained why it wasn't.
Excuse me. Where's the law book of secularism?
The law book?
Tell me.
People should use common sense. Are you saying there's no atheists out there who want to raise their children properly? Who I know a lot of people, I say myself then, I recommend exactly what you're recommending. Again, I repeat, I'm just not saying it's a dude who told a god, a dude in the sky or whatever it is that told me to do that. I'm saying I can work that out from history, I can work that from experiences and religious people. I can work it out from religious institutions and I can take the positives from your religion and I can leave the negatives. You can't do that.
Okay. Hold on.
We agree. Excuse me. Stop making statements.
I get
secular people that are moral.
Okay.
I know what everyone has morals. A serial killer has morals.
Okay.
One second.
You can't. But another secular person. Look, that's different. The difference is this. A secular person could choose. Yes, he can choose whether they will have a one-night stand.
Give you free will.
Let me finish. I think a secular person could choose. Yes, whether they want to sleep with a person, and if they get pregnant, to be with that person or not. Yes? For a Muslim person, they ain't got a choice in it.
Okay.
I mean,
hold on.
Muslims still.
One second. I disagree with that. I disagree with that completely.
Hold on.
Paying Muslims who do this.
Hold on. But the difference is, the Muslim knows it's a major sin.
Of course. But the thing is, I'll be able to talk now. The thing is, when Muslims do this, it happens. Yes, they know it's a major sin, but Muslims do this anyway.
And I can't even
And when Christians leave their kids behind, they know whether they know sin or not. They know they're leaving their kid behind as a bad thing. When a man leaves their child behind, most human beings, I believe God's put in most people's heart, without reading our book, to know and to understand. If you don't leave your child, you do a bad thing. That's right. Everyone knows. So whilst I agree with you, there is a divine inspiration for a Muslim maybe to stay in a relationship. That doesn't work out in reality. And the fact is, when we come to Muslim countries, we still see fatherlessness. This might not be as an epidemic, but we still see this issue. And let's be honest with you. Let's be fair. We're talking about a specific discussion within the black community. When you look at wider communities, there's not fatherlessness happening on a massive epidemic across wide ranges of communities, and they're not religious. So the argument to say that Islam is keeping marriages together alone is false, and it's not going to solve the problems within the whole community.
Can I ask you a question?
There's a correlation, but that alone
it's not only exclusive to do with secularism and religion.
How many people in their late teens, non-Muslim people or secular people? Hold on, let me finish. You haven't heard my question. You haven't heard my question.
They're doing everything. So whatever you say.
You haven't heard my question. I'm not denying that. I will never. I'm not denying that there's not Muslims that have girlfriends. I'm asking you, how many non-Muslim people? How many non-Muslim people do you know that are married in their late teens or early 20s?
How many? Say that again. How many what?
Oh, many.
Yeah. How? Many.
A lot. How many? Married.
21.
Married in the late 20s.
Secular people. Secular. I know tons of young Muslims living in this free society where they could be raving, smoking, sleeping around with bare girls, And I've got friends, Muslim and non-Muslims, The difference is night and day. You will not find young boys in the young 21,
That's not true.
Excuse me. You not find young boys in the early 21, outside of lives, getting married, and being married for 5, 10, 15 years. So what I'm trying to say to you, and I know because I've lived on both sides of the fence. For example, my non-Muslim friends, who I used to hang around with before I was Muslim, they don't have girlfriends. They have a phone, like most boys, And what they do, anything that's female wearing tight clothes, they take the number and they sleep with it if they will allow it to do it. And this is the culture of growing up in London, So what I'm trying to say to you, there is a big difference. There is a big difference. Yes, you have Muslim boys that have girlfriends and sleep around and together. But I'm saying you don't have the families that you find amongst young people and so forth. And the reason why you don't have these families, the reason why you don't have a young boy in this society, he's 21, who's married and staying and with one girl and having a family for 5, 10 for the rest of his life. The reason why you will not find that is because this society is telling him that marriage is a burden. Look it up, it's a burden. Be like the rappers and be like the singers and sleep around.
I agree. Some of this is happening.
Can I just say I agree almost 100% with your diagnosis, and to answer your point, as a Christian, it's just that we have a different solution. That's why we have shared common values, but we have a different solution. That's why we have this.
But I find bickering, even people within the same religion bicker, man. And we should all be getting. I don't think there's anyone who disagrees with his point.
No one
about fatherless children.
And the thing is, I agree with you. When you look at Muslim communities, definitely a lot of my Muslim friends who are younger.
To me, the problem is the human heart, and that's why, as a Christian, I believe that we have a solution to the human heart, and that is what Jesus Christ has done on the cross through His death. When it's received into the heart, becomes life-giving and life-transforming. That can bring back an inward change, an inward transformation, which changes people's values and allows them to behave differently.
I like that.
So the transformation has to come from the inside out.
No, let me say yes or no. Do you accept that?
I don't accept that, but I believe that Christianity has moral things like marriage and so forth. But what I would say to you, so I agree. I don't believe with you that God could die, and I believe Jesus was a prophet. I have to put that in because you said I believe in your Jesus as a prophet. I believe in the miracles and all that stuff. And I believe that But what I would say to you as well, and I would say to you is that. There's a small difference. What I would say to you, it's not God dying, it's not a small difference.
No, but I mean, he's talking about what the aim was, not who he was. What the aim of Jesus was. Do you agree with that?
I agree. That's not what we're talking about.
He's very nice. He wants to start shouting again if I have to. Alright, so let me go. Alright, quickly, please.
What we'd have in common is marriage. But he was talking about young Muslims getting married, but young black people getting married in general. A lot of people have tried to westernize it now and make it. They've tried to make the message of it. No, hold on. But I think they've tried to really make it. They've made Christianity really secular and so forth.
That's cool. So I was saying the point I was trying to make is young Muslim brothers.
I think that's one of the reasons for that.
I let you get in. I was being nice to you now. Don't be rude to me. Alright, cool. So when you say young Muslim brothers, I know a lot of young Muslim brothers got married. A lot of my young other guys who aren't Muslim don't necessarily get married as early. And I agree with you. Religion plays a key role because they know. The ones who aren't Muslim know they could go around and do it a lot longer, whereas in the Islamic community there is a lot more of a pressure. Now my argument to you, however, is the point that you made was about your friends particularly. Now I watched a couple of videos, talked to you a couple of times here at the park a few times. I know back in the day before you converted to Islam, you were involved in some bad business, yeah? So it only makes sense to me that people like that who you would have been involved with in that business would have carried on down that path. Now there's plenty of young black youth who do get married, who aren't Muslim, who aren't religious at all, who aren't engaged in that kind of activity, who aren't doing crime basically, the point I'm making. And the point is that to try and extrapolate one group of friends against another group of friends and to say that they're doing it because of one sort of reason and they're not doing it because of this is a false dichotomy. Do you know what I mean? And then we come further. So while I do accept that Islam plays a role, I don't personally think that every Muslim brother who I know who's gone out there and got married now has done it because they're doing it out of religion or religious compulsion. I know brothers who have gone out there and they said to me, Muslim brothers said to me, yeah, like it was getting too much. I need to have sex basically. So I said to my mum, yo, I wanted to go out there and get a child. Now, is that necessary? Are they in happy relationships? Is it going to be necessarily the best place to be? Now, I know one Muslim brother who's now recently divorced, married 4 years, divorced, got a child,
I bet
divorced.
That's on the rise.
Divorced within Islam. Within Islam, divorced, 4 years. That child now has a potential to be raised as a single child by a single parent. So I'm saying the solution towards single parenthood, as much as I believe in Islam, is not saying that everyone has to have a religious thing. I think it's more to saying that we have to have a community. And within Islam, it teaches us about having a caliphate. And within that caliphate, you have people who are non-Muslims who are allowed to practice their own beliefs, but however they're still accepted as part of a wider ummah, not the Islamic ummah, but the wider ummah, and we teach community values amongst all throughout. Do you know what I mean? And so whilst I believe religion plays a role in solving the issues of capitalism and secularism, can play a role, I believe we have to be a lot more understanding and saying, you know what? With our dawah, with our calling people to Islam, if we're going to call people to Islamic society, we need to understand where people come from, their lifestyles, allow them to live a moral life as best they can, encourage them towards a moral life as best they can. I believe, inshallah, that one day they will say their shahada, but there's no need for us to be saying you have to be a Muslim first. You can start living a moral life tomorrow without being a Muslim, and we should be promoting them to live moral first, and then get later on maybe to start discussing this. That's right. That's interesting. First of all, should I respond to that first? First of all, forget my friends. It's true. I grew up with people that went to crime and robbery, this, that, and the other. I'll put that aside. The culture of London, growing up in London and so forth. Forget people that have violent crimes. Boys in general, the lifestyle that young boys are told is not to have a girlfriend. It's to have multiple relationships with many girls. This is what the rappers do in their videos. In their videos, it's like they have bare girls in thongs and this, that. Women are seen as an object. So it's the culture. Forget violence. That's out of the picture. Young guys growing up, you know, whether they grow up on council estates or whether they grow up in middle class families or so forth, we're told that basically, like I said, like our role models, whether it be James Bond, who has bare girls in each episode and so forth, we're told that to just have as much girls as you can, as long as you can get away with it. And the law,
because that's all that secularism teaches. That's what I want to ask, because you go around the same question. Just
answer this question.
But I'm helping you get to the point.
I know, but let me just answer and then try and come back to yours, because I know I've spoken enough. So what I'm trying to say to you is, that's one thing. So most guys, whether they're violent or they've never been jailed in their life, they have a phone, and if they can get away with it, whether they got a girlfriend or not, most girls think that they're someone's girlfriend and they're just another number in the phone. So that's what I'm trying to say. And I agree with you. There are Muslims that go raving every weekend, just like non-Muslim guys. There are Muslims that abandon children. All I'm just trying to say,
Muslims that get married and still go raving.
All I'm just trying to say, me, and I'm not going to lie to try and win a point for my religion. What I'm saying is that I don't see anywhere else, in England
in any ideology.
or in London, yeah, where you find young boys from their late teens to their age 20s getting married and having 10-year marriage, 15 years marriage, 30-year marriage, and staying with one person. So what to say? Yes, there's still bad Muslims that exist, and there's Muslims like not looking after kids. But you're not.
You mean in Islam or in religion?
I'm talking about Islam. Do you know why? Because do you know why?
Why would you say that?
I tell you why.
Why would you do that?
Most of us grew up in a quote-unquote Christian family. Our parents are Jamaican Christian or African Christian, yeah, in London, yes.
And the morality that they preached was the same thing as Islam.
No, it wasn't. It's not. Because can I tell you why? Okay, we grow up. That's what I'm trying to say, and I'm not trying to say. When we grew up, okay, for example, in fornication is a term that we use in Islam. It's called zina, sex outside of marriage. I didn't know what fornication was before I became Muslim, but it's a sin to have a girlfriend in Christianity. But I didn't know that growing up, and I went to church and everything and so forth. And normally, even my mum, who's a practicing Christian, or people in general who are practicing go to church on Sunday, not all, I know there's your fucking find some that follow it seriously. But most Christian people, before they get married, they are boyfriend and girlfriend. Yes, even practicing ones that go to church on Sunday.
Some Christians don't follow the doctrine.
I'm saying it's more
some Muslims.
Yeah.
What's the difference? You're just explaining the similarities.
I'm trying to. What's the difference? I don't want to speak for long. I'm willing to shout out. I took my face. Because he made it very clear. He made it very clear how people going to speak. So what I'm trying to say to you is that Christianity is the way they've kind of made it is that internally they've kind of secularized it. Now I'm not saying all. So what I'm trying to say, you can go out in a Christian family and you can watch.
That's because there's a veneer of what we call nominal Christianity. Certainly in churches.
But she goes to church. But the thing is, she doesn't see it as a sin. Because what I'm trying to say is that I think because you have Jesus died to save your sins, yeah. The kind of problem is this: is that this, yeah. It's like having a girlfriend in Islam, yeah, is a big thing. But having a girlfriend in Christianity is not really a bad. It's not like a bad thing. Yeah, you're supposed to get married, but because so many people are having girlfriends.
But we have the same view that sex outside of marriage is.
Yeah, and I believe you take it seriously, but the society, like even.
I would argue that so many young.
Here's the thing, you see.
Because within their community,
we're talking about
anything else.
That's true.
So they're forced to. Within Christianity, they
Jesus
don't the same
said,
community.
if we look at another woman with lust in our hearts, we've committed adultery.
There's going to be there has been a time where Muslims.
It's not just our outward behaviour; it's what's in our hearts that's the issue.
The difference is.
And that's what Jesus has come to deal with.
Can't say what you're saying.
I'm just saying that Jesus said, if you look at another woman with lust in your heart, it's akin to adultery. If you're angry with your brother, it's akin to murder. By that standards, we've all fallen short. And that's why, to me, Jesus has the solution to that, because he's the only one that can deal with the inward problem, which is the heart. To me, I think, Islam puts the emphasis on outward conformity, on religious practice,
Christianity used to.
whereas Christianity is a transformation of the heart from the inside out.
That's not what the point is. Let me explain the point quickly. That's what I'm saying. You both got the same problem.
His point was that he believes that. See, because the whole thing is, first of all,
I think it's communal.
Yeah, he was saying to me, I think. So we talked about the girl that about young girls in the society. They just told to have like multiple girlfriends. That we agreed that. He would say that he disagreed that what we should do is that not everyone's gonna be Muslim. I agree with that. Yeah. That's why I don't know if you know that me and you have some conversations, but most of the time when I come to this park and I'm going to speak to someone I've been there for many years, I don't talk about these social issues. I get down to Tawheed and worshiping one another. There's many videos where I'm like the reason why is that as my fellow human being, I do believe in Day of Judgment, paradise and hell. Yeah. And the whole thing is that even me talking about certain things, knife crime and so forth with that. Like my goal is not to convert people. I believe in Islam. So what I do is mainly what I do these people issues that side things I talk about. I them to people. Because I believe if I convey the message to them and they become Muslim and so forth in the next life.
But I get that because Islam encompasses the whole of life.
So my point when I'm talking about hair, I'm not telling when I talk about marriage and is young Muslim get married, I'm not saying that for people to think I should become Muslim and this, that, and the other, because I know they're not going to do that.
I understand.
My issue is not to when I'm talking about the family unit and the reason why the things are getting worse. I'm not thinking that because I'm telling you Muslims are getting married young and having stable families, and that's going to be better as time goes on and so forth. And because this society is a secular country, and it's just telling people to go out and sleep around in this business. I'm not thinking they're thinking that because Muslims don't marriage, I should become Muslim. Nah, I'm not thinking that at all. I'm saying I believe things are going to get worse in this society because of this Euro thing. Because it's only getting increased with more sexualized. The movies are going to get more sexualized. The women are going to get more promoted as more sexual objects. It's just going to get more sexualized. And what's going to happen is that guys are going to just keep on sleeping around getting girls pregnant and not caring for them. Why? Because when a woman are weak, and if a man has to choose, he's wrong. Of course he's wrong. If you get a girl pregnant, the moral thing you're supposed to do, even though the moral thing you should do is look after your child. That's right. But the reality is that if you have to choose between following your desires and following your desires or being a responsible man and working hard and providing for kids and being disciplined in a society that's telling you only live once, life is about enjoying yourself. This and most young guys
that's the symptoms, man. You want to don't do that in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
who's going to tell them?
Because what do you mean who? That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stop arguing, me, you and him.
They're not going to tell you that in second society. Do you know why?
Them, we're supposed to do that.
No, what I'm trying to say, but we live in a society, yes,
where we live as well.
So for example,
we need to speak that.
The
blame other people, man.
You know about capitalism, yeah? It's good for secularism to have these music shows where they have, it's good for secularism. It's good. I want to say you try to be a secular person.
He's kind of right. No, as well as it's more capitalism, but it fits with secular. My problem is saying that that's all that secularism deals with.
Right? Look at all these women.
That means being an atheist. But look, I want transgenderism and I want all this. That's what you're trying to tell me.
No, but look, say you're a young boy, yeah? Because what I'm trying to say, there's a system of secularism. You may, as a secular person, believe that. Say there's a girl growing up in a council estate, yeah? Single parent family now. Secularism and stuff is pushing all these role models. Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. Okay,
that's not secularism.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is that Nicki Minaj and all these things. All you see, you don't even see.
Secularism isn't even a thing. Secularism is just removing
away from
that's what it is. It's not moving the morals. That's your problem. That's where you messed up.
Yeah, but
and there is that's where you messed up. Okay, we should ask the question as well.
But you have to ask the question: Is secularism and capitalism synonymous?
No. That's what we're trying to tell you. But
they overlap.
No, secularism is overlap. No, I think secularism is capitalism is the problem.
The word means away from God. The word means away from God.
Let me kill it.
All the stuff we're talking about, Cardi B, girls on TV naked, all this sort of stuff, that's to do with capitalism. Secularism allows capitalism to thrive because secularism says we don't have religious.
Hold on.
No, we're saying secularism doesn't allow. The fact is, secularism itself has no negative or positive to it.
It has no rules. Okay.
Technically, the things that you're talking about, the ratchet behavior, is kind of religious. Hold on. It's kind of religious, right? Because if you talk about the Illuminati and these people, what they worship and capitalism as a belief, that's their God. If you want to be technical, how they worship Lucifer and how they've got their own religious system. If you want to say, because it's not Islam that's
a unique
It's the
situation.
truth, but it's the truth.
Most religions,
all you're doing is you're choosing from it what you want.
I want to go. I'm trying to bring it back.
So the same way you did that, now I'm going to switch it back on you.
But the point is this: the point I'm trying to say to you,
so these religious
people,
so
I use, if you prefer capitalism,
capitalism is the one.
What I'm trying to say though is the reason why young Muslims are getting married is because of the community, the Muslim community and the Christian community isn't as enforcing their rules as the Muslim community.
But you two are the same
Christianity, at the same time, at the same day, it's the same morals, it's the same lesson, it's the same teaching. I'm getting tired because we're repeating ourselves over and over in this debate, so I'm stepping down.
But the point I was trying to make you this young girl that's growing up, because I would say that secularism is neutral on morals. I would say that it doesn't make sense either way.
Well, that's incorrect though.
What do you mean?
So that's your subjective view of secularism.
What's the rule book?
What's the rule book? Look at the definition.
Away from God.
No, you'd have to look at the definition.
It says away from God.
To my understanding.
The dictionary definition is.
All right, that's fine.
I think a lot of.
Hold on, he said away from God. He didn't say away from morality. Now what?
Okay.
Now what?
So I'm going to ask you this. Okay, let's say capitalism, because I don't mind, yes? Because I want to get to the point rather than thing. Okay, so in capitalism, there's nothing wrong. You see, like Kellogg's K.
There's nothing wrong.
Like in Kellogg's, what I'm saying that, for example, the Kellogg's K advert, yeah, they're saying if they get a woman put in a bikini, yeah, and we all know she didn't get like they're trying to say if you eat this, you'll get this body.
Sex sells, yeah.
So the whole thing is in capitalism, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
There's nothing wrong in your opinion.
No, in capitalism.
Their opinion is.
In capitalism, it's not wrong to get a woman, throw a naked woman in front of a BMW or a car if you want to sell it, and it's okay. So what I'm trying to say, all these role models that capitalism is given to this young. This young girl is growing up in council estate. She's watching these music videos, Cardi B, was it Nicki Minaj and who's that other one? I don't know. Some other.
Where they teach you bullshit.
So they just walk around their chest out, bum out, this, that, the other. She's thinking this is a definition of a woman. Yes?
Yep, that's what they're being taught.
And yes, it's true, she just like that, she will get attention. But attention doesn't equal respect. Many girls on Instagram gets their picture like this, that, and the other.
I agree.
But if the guy gets a chance to sleep with you, you can sleep with you a few times and dust.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that capitalism is, as time goes on, the videos are just going to get more sexy. You know what I'm saying? This YOLO guys are just going to be told more and more that you can just sleep around and this, that, and the other. She gets pregnant, just avoid her, and so forth. So that's the point I'm trying to say. This stuff keep on pushing you. As time goes on, it's only going to get worse.
We're just making the same point. If you use capitalism, we're making the same point. If you use secularism, that's a wrong argument. Because hold on, what's the point of capitalism? Ain't it money?
Yeah.
So these people are promoting this kind of behaviour to the young people for money.
But do you agree?
So what's that going to do with atheism?
Okay, but I'm saying it's only going to get worse because as so we agree.
Yeah, of course we do. We agreed on that all the time. But the problem wasn't that. It was just saying, God. All I'm saying, what I said earlier, you should have addressed. I said the only difference between me, you, and this guy here is that you two believe it was God that told you, and I'm saying it's just from common sense and experience. That's it. But we agree.
But I would say that common sense actually derives from God.
It derives from a religion. It derives from. But then again, I would say religion derives from common sense.
Secularism is based on, for example, the Declaration of Human Rights. But actually, if you think about that itself derives from Judeo-Christian values.
Okay, let me take it further then. Let me take it further then. Religion evolved from astrotheology. Astrotheology is the science of the universe and the world, which is where religion got its morals from. So if you want to take it back to the beginning, it's common sense based on observation where religion came from, because they started personifying the science, saying that this star is a dude, or these stars looks like a guy with an arrow, and then the personifications that they taught, people started to misunderstand what the personifications were.
That's one way of looking at it. The other way is...
That's the oldest religion. That's the oldest religion, astrotheology. If you want to take it to that level,
he cuts for anyone against Islam. Because he's a hater. He can't build anything. All he could do is criticize. Anyone can look at anything. But the thing is this. But the thing is that you have nothing. You have nothing to. No, you got nothing to offer. You got nothing to offer. You got nothing to offer. He's got nothing to offer. We can knock things down. A channel.
I think he's
90% about Islam.
I don't get
No, do you know why? Because man's too ashamed to talk about cooking food for his dead ancestors and not eating it.
That's the point I just made about personification. You misunderstand the teachings of what
I
he's
understand it clearly. So the whole thing is, man does barbecue for his dead ancestors, but he's ashamed to talk about it to the youth. So all he does is talk about Islam. 90% of the videos on this channel. Hold on. I didn't say want me to go away from
I've been dropping it for an hour or so.
See what I'm saying? Listen. No, you're ashamed because I'm talking about the barbecues for your ancestors. So the see, they told now they would have run away. No, they're running away. 90% of the channels on this video. Hold on, wait. Don't stop crying. Stop crying. Ask your ancestors for help. Stop crying. 90% of the videos on your channel are about Islam. Why are you ashamed to talk about praying to your monkey god? Why are you ashamed to talk about making barbecue for your dead ancestors?
In fact, if you keep quiet, you'll leave it.
You leech, man.
Come on, then. So back to the point.
Black man chasing Tommy Robinson around our park, saying, Tommy. Sell out. Uncle Tom.
Because my man is, so what's your name?
Mark. So anyway,
Mark said. No, and I think the lady said as well that it kind of come from.
Let me get back to your point. So what I'm trying to say to you, look, I'm saying to you, for example, according to capitalism, or even secularism.
We agreed there, don't we?
Hold on. Like for example, prostitution, yes?
Yeah.
Prostitution.
Yeah.
You can't say it's wrong.
I can't say it's what?
Like there's you.
I can't say it's wrong as an atheist.
I'm saying to you.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying to you. I'm saying that your solution of. I'm saying to you that capitalism is wrong. I'm saying that as it goes on, it's going to get worse.
And I agree.
And you say
we agree.
Okay. And do you identify as a secularist?
Yes.
Okay, so as a secularist,
so now bring secularism and capitalism together.
So I'm saying to you, as a secularist, that you as an individual may say this is right and wrong, but there's nothing like me and a Muslim. At the end of the day, when it comes to having sex outside of marriage or these things, when it comes to what? Having sexual relationships out of marriage, we can't have a vote on it.
Wait, hold on, but we agreed on that.
Hold on, no, yes, but the point I'm trying to say to you, we have something to refer to. What I'm trying to say to you, you disagree. Hold on, I'm saying you as a secularist, there's nothing for you. Secularists do not refer to something.
As the world looking down at me, resuscitate my body as predicted in these prophecies. Yeah, as predicted in these prophecies, was born upon the 7th. That's the number of completion. I'm meant to be perfect, but till now I've just been sleeping.